The date is June 7th, 2020. You wake up and you want to play a video game, but you don't have a video game console. With the PlayStation 5 and Xbox right around the corner, how are you going to play some video games? Should you buy a PlayStation 4 in 2020 or wait it out?
Welcome to NFTP Debates. Today's topic, should you buy a PlayStation 4 in 2020? I'm one of your hosts, Jason Wright, alongside my dirty co-host and brother, Greg Artolona. Greg, I have bought a PlayStation 4 Pro, a PlayStation 4 launch. You've also bought two PlayStations since 2014. But what do you think today? In June 2020, let's say you did not have either one of these consoles. Let's say you only had a PC or only had a Switch or only had an Xbox. Would you buy a PlayStation in June 2020?
I don't think anybody's going to tell you it's a bad idea to own a PlayStation, right? I mean, really the question is, with a PlayStation 5 and the next generation coming up, should you buy it now? And for most of us, I still think the answer is yes, right? Because you're looking at probably a $500 console around the corner, when right now you can pick up a used PS4, an OG one, for like $270 right now. And that price point with that library, right off the bat, my instinct is, yes, I would be buying.
I gotta tell you, Greg, I'm gonna disagree with you there, because for me, well, first of all, if I'm buying a PlayStation 4 in 2020, I'm not going with the launch console. Those are the only ones you can find at that price point of $270, $280. But that's only if you can find one in stock. With the coronavirus doing its thing, many of these retailers don't have these consoles in stock. So you're kind of forced up into the upper echelon of PlayStation 4 or Pro, which is what I would want anyway. And then at that point, you're paying $400 for a new one and $350 for a used one. And again, that's if you can find it. Not to mention that once the PlayStation 5 launches at the end of this year, it's slated for holiday 2020.
Allegedly at the end of this year.
Yeah, it should be at the end of this year, and it's supposed to be holiday 2020. They have not backed off of that. It's going to be $500. So are you really going to spend, even at that $270 price point, are you going to spend over half of the price of a PlayStation 5 on an inferior piece of tech that's literally going to be outdated in a matter of months?
Okay, but out of stock used PlayStation, I mean, that's one minor problem. You're going to find it somewhere. When the PlayStation 5 launches, good luck finding one, period, at all. So you're talking about another 6 months to hope you can get one at launch. Like, what are you doing for the next 6 months? Like, you're probably in lockdown. You're not leaving your house. You're not going outside. You're going to tell me to save a couple bucks, you're going to throw away 6 months of staring at some drywall, not playing video games?
Well, let me ask you this question, Greg. What if let's say, the PlayStation 4 exclusives, which of those games, if you hadn't played it up to this point in 2020, would you even buy a PlayStation 4 to play specifically? Because I'm looking at a lot of these exclusives, and the notable ones came out several years ago, and I mean, there's really not anything, I mean, aside from The Last of Us Part 2, but chances are, if you're not a big, maybe you're coming from a PS3 and you've played The Last of Us Part 1 and you just really want to play The Last of Us Part 2, that's really the only one I can see.
Look, as the host of Never Free to Play, you of all people should understand the number of people who haven't played every game we were supposed to have played. Just last week, I bought Horizon Zero Dawn because, just like you, I'm never free to play.
And you haven't played it yet.
Plenty of people, I still haven't played it yet, but you know what? It was only $20, so yeah. But plenty of people are in that boat. Plenty of people are in that position where buying a PS4 now, today, means getting new classics, getting new to them games for cheaper than you're going to get those PS5 games. Now, look, PS5 by all accounts is going to be backwards compatible. That's nice and that's great. If you want to pay an extra $300 to get to play the same game that you're going to be able to play either way. So at the end of the day, for so many people out there, the people that are looking to buy a console right now are one of two people, right? You're either someone who can't not play video games for 6 months, in which case, yeah, you've played everything, but guess what? You've got a problem. You need a console for 6 months. Or you're someone who hasn't. And if you haven't played these classics, no, it's $250 to get to play some of the greatest games ever created.
I like how the price goes down $20 every time you reference it.
And look, shop around on Craigslist. Just find yourself a deal.
That's where you're going to find the scalpers that are definitely going to rip you off, if not murder you or give you the coronavirus. I don't know which.
No. What's going to rip you off is these new consoles that always drop who got no games, who got nothing, maybe backwards compatible. We're hoping. They haven't confirmed.
They have confirmed that it will be backwards compatible.
I'll believe it when I see it, considering we're sitting on a PS4 that to this day cannot play a PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah, but we know that's an
that is the one reason
issue.
You should consider not buying a PlayStation 4 today. If there's not one in your house, whether you are a gamer, not a gamer, a mom, if you are a bored person on lockdown right now and you don't have a PS4 in your house, you're living wrong.
I have a feeling we're going to have to create a correction section in the podcast to make up for all the stuff you say on this show.
The best, well, it feels true. I'm pretty sure it is true too.
No, most of what you said is true. I mean, kind of, I don't know, man. I just feel like I could not bring myself, and I hate to circle back and sound like a broken record, but I could not bring myself to pay half the price of a PS5 for a PS4. And I hear what you're saying on, what are we getting at launch? I think those are questions that hopefully we do get answers to here in the next few weeks, and maybe you should at least hold off for the next 2 weeks and see what Sony's coming with at launch for PS5, because maybe it's Horizon 2 and you really want to be able to play that, and maybe you can hold out. The one thing I will say, kind of dropping character here, is if you are able to get a PlayStation 4 Pro now, one thing you really should consider is what you could sell it or trade it in for when the PlayStation 5 launches, because that will kind of shrink that margin that you're paying for it. So I hate to make your point for you, Greg, but
I'm glad to see you're agreeing with me already. This was an easy way. This was an easy one.
We kind of arbitrarily took sides on this too. No, I'm very adamant about my stance. So I mean, let's look at the notable exclusives that you could play on a PlayStation 4 today. And these are the ones that, in my opinion, if you're going to buy a PlayStation 4, here's what you're going to buy them for. So the first one that was notable that came around in that launch window was Infamous Second Son. But I think that game's probably not worth playing today. If you wanted to go back and play some of those older Infamous games, okay, but those aren't PlayStation 4 exclusives, right? So that one was a 2014. The Last of Us Remastered was technically a PlayStation 4 exclusive, although The Last of Us launched at the end of the PlayStation 3, was remastered for the PlayStation 4. With the sequel coming out in a couple weeks, I mean, that could be a good one to pick up, but I don't know that I'd buy a PlayStation 4 just for that. Maybe for the pair, The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, maybe for that. Then you've got Ratchet and Clank, you have Bloodborne in 2015. And to be honest with you, that's a very niche game. So if you're not into games that make you want to cause self-harm, then I don't know if I recommend Bloodborne.
But if you're into really good games, Bloodborne, really, really, really good games.
It's not the kind of show where we go into the details of games, but man, I had a hard time with that one. Like I had it, it's on my shelf. I have not gotten out of that first little part.
I think there's something they say to people like you.
Don't say it.
Get good.
I knew you were going to do it. And then you've got, let's see, Ratchet and Clank in 2016, which is a really good game, but it was kind of a smaller experience. I personally really enjoyed it because it was like right at that like 15, 20 hour mark, which is like the sweet spot. And I've said this on the podcast, but it felt like playing The Incredibles. Like I loved the art style and just the mechanics of that game and the weapons upgrade system and how cartoony and just like charming it was. So that's a really good game. I mean, I don't know that any one of these games is worth buying a $270 console for when when its successor's coming out in a matter of months. But if you look at the totality of it, so just kind of moving on, you've got Uncharted 4, Spider-Man, God of War, and Days Gone, not to mention Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2.
That is probably, arguably, the greatest catalog of games any system has ever had.
I don't know if I go that far,
I think
but it's
a
a
lot
really
of
good
people,
catalog.
a lot of people would say PlayStation 2. But honestly,
I don't know if people would say PlayStation 2.
I think it's pretty widely accepted as like the greatest catalog in gaming history.
Maybe that's our next episode.
Teaser.
Yeah, teaser, exactly. Okay, so, I mean, ultimately, I think, Greg, where we come down on this is even though we tried our best to argue about it and debate both sides in good faith, I think what we're saying is if you haven't played these games, then our recommendation is to go find the best price PlayStation 4 you can buy and then plan on trading it in for the PS5 when you go to procure that.
And if I was looking right now, I probably wouldn't buy a Pro right now because that extra graphical bump, it's not going to be what the PlayStation 5's is. So save your money now. And like you said, trade in and then try to jump up to the 5 a couple months after the launch window.
Well, and the backside of that is, though, the flip side of that is, are you getting a PlayStation VR with it? Because if so, I do recommend the Pro. And then second thing to think about is the Pro is going to trade in for more when the PlayStation 5 launches. So just keep those things in mind.
But as an avid VR fan, like a huge VR fan, I would not recommend PSVR. I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
No, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Look, I love PSVR. I love what it is. I love what it...
We've both bought one.
Yeah, we both bought one. I bought 2. But it's not VR where it is now and what that was. Nah, don't do that.
Don't mess with it.
Don't even need a topic for that one. That's definitive.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway. Well, all right. I think that's our show.
So hold on. So I win the debate?
I think this is how these are all going to go, is we're both going to try really hard to make our points, and then we're probably going to see which one is probably the better answer, and then make our recommendation.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially for something like this when if someone is bored right now, and probably a lot of people are wondering this question right now legitimately, you're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So if you haven't played those games, and if you can get it at a decent price and you're bored, easy decision. Have fun.
Go for it, man. Or woman.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Or whatever. Exactly. We are so open-minded here on this show.
I have a grill.
He had to show it off. That and his Timbs.
These are... Oh, yeah, I did have to show them on, but these are Blue Wings or something. I don't know.
You don't know what
Blue Steels. They're Blue Steels, Australian.
Okay.
So I accomplished everything I wanted in the first episode. Showed off the grill.
Awesome.
Showed off the boots.
Okay.
And won the debate.
Wow. I mean, that's impressive. It really is. Well, okay, everybody. You guys go out there, have yourselves a fantastic week. We will try, but we are never free to play. Cool. I dig it, dude. That's tight. That was tight. That's a tight 10 right there. Hold on. I'm gonna start unrecording everything.